guys, welcome back to another episode of The Lisa Show. I am so excited today because today we will be doing another cook with me video. We will be making a creamy shrimp and scallop pasta with spinach. So let's get started. I'm just gonna turn the fire on. And I will be adding some olive oil. You can use butter if you want. But I didn't have any, but you can. It will add some nice flavor. So I'm just gonna swirl that. Ooh. Okay, and then I've got some garlic. As you can see, I think this is about, I would say, actually I don't even know how much this is because I love garlic. I think if you want a measurement, you can put about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half, but I really like garlic, so I just go with it. Just gonna scrape off that excess. Okay. So a tip would be not to put your fire too high because the garlic tends to burn. So what you do is you put your garlic quite low and you let that kind of like slowly emulsify. So that slow heat really brings out the flavor of the garlic without scorching the garlic. Because when the garlic starts to burn, the taste that you get is not that fragrant garlic taste, it's a bitter aftertaste and you don't want that. So as long as you see the garlic starts to turn golden brown, we will be adding our seafood. So we have here some prawns and some scallops. Careful not to get the water in because it will splatter. So just gently put that in. And today we are using tiger prawns, which are really nice, medium flavored, yummy. Starting to smell really good. So just flip those prawns and the scallops. And the goal here is really just to get a slight char, just to get them a bit brown. It doesn't even have to be fully cooked because later when we toss it in the heat with the pasta, it will cook through. Alrighty. And then we're gonna take the seafood out once it's brown.
Smells really good.
Yes. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the same pan, and this one makes this recipe so easy. We will be adding about a cup and a half. We have here some seafood stock, specifically crab, and it's actually a Korean seafood stock. And we will be adding the same amount, a cup and a half of milk. And we're gonna turn the heat up for this one because we want that to come to a boil. Now we're taking our pasta. Just gonna find a way to squeeze it in to this pan. Slowly. Call it the one pan pasta because we don't need to use any other pot or pan. So it makes it very easy, especially for students or if you live in an apartment and you want a quick dinner. This is really easy to make. So we're just gonna let that boil. And now it's starting to boil. You just want to stir that occasionally just so the pasta doesn't stick together. You want to make sure that the liquid really gets in between the noodles. Because if not, you will end up getting a clump of pasta and you don't want that. You want the pasta to be soft and al dente, and you want it to be flowy when you swirl it later. Just gonna keep separating that. And if you find that you've added too little milk, or too little liquid in general, and you feel that your noodles aren't being covered by the liquid and so they can't cook, then just feel free to add as you wish, like stock or milk. Just feel free to add a bit more of that. This should take about 10 to, I would say, 15 minutes, depending on how big your fire is. So when the pasta is al dente, you add in some Parmesan cheese. This is about, I would say, an 1/8 to 1/4 cup, but I do love my cheese, so I'm just gonna put all of that in. And I personally like using freshly grated Parmesan. I don't like powdered Parmesan, just my preference. But if you don't have fresh Parmesan, you can always get the powdered ones in the store. But fresh always gives you that flavor. And then I'll be adding my spinach. This is just some baby spinach. And we'll be putting that in to let that wilt. Ooh, and it looks like a lot, but baby spinach will really shrink very quickly. And then I'll also be adding my salt. Well, that just happened. That, what I would say, will be about maybe a teaspoon or so. And also some pepper. Freshly ground black pepper is always best. Okay, and then we're gonna give that a toss. You can just see that cheese. You can totally see how the leaves have just shrunk drastically. It was a mountain just now, and now it's just fitting very nicely in the pan. So I always like to add like a whole packet of spinach, just one pasta dish, even though it looks like a huge lot, but it actually really isn't when you actually cook it. So we're gonna keep tossing that. Keep tossing that. So creamy and delicious. And then we will be adding the seafood in. We're just gonna really gently stir that in. Carefully stir that. Scallops are very fragile, very soft. So just gonna stir that in. And you want to turn the fire low at this point because everything's already cooked. We're just letting the heat really soak all that flavor in and get all the cheese melted. And then we'll be taking our Parmesan block and we're just going to be adding a last generous shaving of cheese on top. Okay. Once you got all the cheese on, you can just feel free to turn the fire off. The residue heat is enough to melt all that cheese, and we will be eating. So excited, it smells so good. And if you want, you can feel free to just add some more pepper. I do like my creamy pasta is quite peppery, and it just adds a really nice dash of color. You can also opt to put just a splash of olive oil, just to keep things very fluid. Okay, there we go. Yummy, we're gonna eat now. So excited, so hungry. Wow. First big bite. Oh my god. Wow. Oh my.
Is it?
Try it, honey.
Okay.
Wow. Wow. And we'll be going in for the prawn.
Mm.
Mmm.
Mm.
Oh.
Wow. Very good.
Oh.
Mm.
The prawns are so good. Definitely use tiger prawns. I like tiger prawns. You can use banana prawns, which are not a common option, at least here in Singapore. But banana prawns tend to be a bit, I mean, they're still quite, texture-wise, they're quite similar. I would say they're a bit less firm than tiger prawns, in my opinion, but they're still firm. But flavor-wise, they're a bit mild. So I tend to like to use tiger prawns better. But you know what would make this pasta even better? If we had like fettuccine or tagliatelle. Tagliatelle is a fat one that's the yellowy pasta, the one that's we call it like it's an egg pasta variation. So these are not really egg pasta variations. This is the linguine, but you can use a fettuccine, which is a fatter version of this, or you can use a tagliatelle, which is the egg version of fettuccine. I feel like those would make the pasta even nicer, but we didn't have it in the store when we went, so.
Very tasty.
Wow. The cheese is so rich. Honestly, I would tell everyone to get fresh parmesan. Like, from young, I hated powdered parmesan. You know what powdered parmesan is, right?
Yeah.
Like the kind that they serve at Pizza Hut, you know, in the bottle and then you just shake it on. I
What's
don't know.
the difference?
Well, that's like dried. A dried version of it, but okay, it's like how you know how you have spices, you have oregano leaves, and then you have dried oregano. Yeah, same thing. But I don't know, I just find it, okay, I know it may sound gross, but I find powdered parmesan like as a kid, it kind of tasted like vomit to me, so I never use it. But I mean, on a less gross note, fresh parmesan, when you grate it fresh, the flavor is very nutty and it's very it's quite strong. It's very sharp flavor, so it's really good for creamy sauces, in my opinion. And I think because it's a hard cheese, so when you grate it, it tends to melt into sauces really, really well, as compared to if you use mozzarella. Like mozzarella is good for, I would say, like baked pasta where you want the really stringy effect. But in this case, when we added it into the sauce, we weren't really going after the stringy effect. We're going in for the flavor. We wanted the flavor of the cheese to soak in that milk and make a creamy sauce. So that's why you would use parmesan instead of mozzarella. So yeah, wow, I'm so hungry. I'm just gonna.
It's really good.
Scallop. And what would be really nice is if you added some parsley. Parsley is really good as well for creamy kind of pastas, or any pasta in general. I think parsley is a really nice garnish. But again, we didn't have that in the store. I don't know what happened to our grocery store this week, but we didn't have that in stock, so we couldn't add it.
What was the water ratio that you used?
It's about a cup and a half to a cup and a half of so equal parts of milk and stock. So for stock, you can add chicken stock if you want. That works really well for this recipe as well. But because this is a seafood pasta and I had some crab stock from the Korean mart, you know, available, so that's why I use that. But if you're a vegetarian, you can make I don't know how you would make this vegetarian, man, but
Mushroom stock?
yeah, you could add vegetable or mushroom stock. Can vegetarians eat cheese? Yeah, you can, right? Only vegans can't eat cheese. Vegans can't eat dairy.
Right.
But basically, any stock will work fine. Chicken or seafood or even vegetable stock. Wow, this is so good.
Yeah.
You finished it.
Yeah.
The cheese is so good.
Yeah, it's delicious.
I have a salad.
Yeah,
Not more.
I never knew that the to cook the stock from scratch you actually add milk and stock itself. So typically, you know, you make pasta and it's all in
The bottle.
the bottle. But it's just too.
It's different, isn't it?
The cream is different.
Yeah.
This is it's not too strong, right? But it's still flavorful.
It's so rich in flavor.
Yes.
The thing about bottled cream sauces are they tend to be very starchy. They add a lot of cornstarch to make it so thick. But if you notice in this recipe, there's no cornstarch at all. It's thick because of the milk that has been reduced as well as the cheese. The cheese is what makes it thick. So it's thick, but it doesn't compromise on the flavor. If you buy the bottled one, it's thick, but when you drink it or you eat it, you realize there's actually not much flavor in it.
Yeah. It's just very rich in cream, but there's not much of a flavor.
Yeah. And you see the prawn is it's got a bit of a char. And I think personally, that makes a huge difference. If you added the seafood in at the stage where the pasta was boiling in the milk, I don't think it would taste the same personally, because you don't get that char in the seafood. You would have the effect of boiled prawns, and that's a bit different. Whereas I like to sear the seafood in the start so that you get that char, and it's just the added like extra crunch.
So searing the prawns will add more flavor.
I personally believe so. I personally don't like the taste of like boiled prawns, unless it's in hot pot, because it's boiled in very flavorful stock. Yeah, but I'm not a fan of like. I feel like for this recipe, I would like to sear it first. This recipe, as you can tell, you have to eat it right away because the cream really like as it cools down without heat, the cheese and the cream clump up. So it's not as flowy, it's not as silky when you twirl it. It just gets quite clumpy. I mean, it still tastes good, but I think it's best to be eaten right away. Yeah, I'm just gonna scrape all that.
You want more?
Yeah, I want more. Do you want more?
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna bring the whole pan here.
Oh, there it goes.
Save some for your parents.
Sure.
See, it's a bit clumpy now, but it's still yummy. Wow, what a pro. What a pro. Oh, that's okay. We can save the prawn for your parents.
Okay, some spinach.
You can have it. Oh, yum. I love the spinach. And honestly, this one pan pasta, not only is it so easy because you only wash one pan. Well, obviously, I have to wash more things because I gotta show you guys the garlic, I gotta show you guys the cheese and everything. So that all comes with individual plates. But if you cook this on your own, you would actually only really need that one pan that you have to wash. And not only is it so easy, it's so quick, it's so yummy. But the other thing is, honestly, if you cook this pasta, this exact same recipe, if you cook the pasta separately in water first and then mix it into the cream, I guarantee you it will not taste the same. Reason being, one pan pastas are one of my favorite pastas to cook because not only is it so easy, right? But if you notice, the pasta, the dried pasta was cooked in the liquid, in the stock. So the liquid that's used to cook the pasta is so flavorful. The pasta noodles absorb all the flavor in as it's cooking it. But if you cook the pasta separately in water, it absorbs water. The pasta is actually kind of tasteless, and then you toss into the cream sauce. Even though it's coated with the sauce, when you bite into it, it wouldn't taste the same. It wouldn't taste as rich as if you cooked it one pan style. Yeah, fun fact, hey?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is the pasta absorbs the flavor
As it cooks.
as it cooks.
Yeah.
So you can't put it into boiling water and then separately add the sauce. And
Yeah.
add the
I mean, you legally can, but it wouldn't taste the same. You know?
So from the start, you kind of soak that pasta in and absorb all the flavors from the stock and the milk.
Yeah. Let me share this prawn with you. Yummy. How good are the prawns? It's so bouncy and chewy.
Really good. Seriously, you make the best pasta.
Aww.
Should
Really?
do the tagliatelle next.
No what?
The tagliatelle.
Last, I think 2 years ago.
With the ham.
Two Valentine's Day ago. 2 years ago. I made him a tagliatelle pasta with pancetta and tomato. And he still raves about it to this day. Very sweet, honey. My #1 fan is right here.
It's the best. Normally, I'm not a fan of cream-based pasta, but because this is not too creamy, like you know those can.
It's because a lot of the cream pastas that we get in the restaurants here, I mean, if you don't go to an authentic Italian restaurant, like if you go to like Pizza Hut or Pasta Mania, they put cream and liquid, and it's just very milky.
Yeah.
You don't taste any flavor in it, but this one's with the cheese and everything, it's just so nice. But anyway, we are done, and we hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this recipe, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications so you know when the next video is coming out. And if you ever try this recipe, then make sure you tag me on Instagram. We will see you guys on the next episode. Bye!